Welcome to Mongoose Best Practices today. Got a good one for you. So hopefully you guys are going to learn something really, really good and really actionable for you guys to take away with you and utilize at your institution. So this is the one for today. So long story short, I've got Kelsey with me. Kelsey is the person. Kelsey, the person. She leads one of our pods over there and she leads the strategic folks. So it's just going to be myself as the moderator. Kelsey is going to be the hosting. I've got Jake over in the chat and in the Q&A. If you guys have anything during this time, please utilize the chat. Please post questions in the Q&A. We will get to them. I promise to make sure that we have enough time for everybody. We want everybody to take away something that they're able to use and something that they're able to action. So going over today, we're going to be covering best practices. You probably saw it in the description. We're looking at message, timing and length, tone, language, planning, all those great automated features that Mongoose offers to make life a little bit easier for you. And we're going to also wrap up with our benchmark data that analyzes, I think it's a huge amount, like 80 million with an M messages from like 600 institutions. To make sure that you guys are doing what you can do to be the best you can be. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing here. I'm going to let Kelsey go ahead and take it over from here.
Sure.
And one quick reminder, folks, if you have any questions, Q&A, chat, Q&A, we'll answer them. Or you can ask questions in the chat and Jake will get to it. So Kelsey, all you.
Yes. Hi, everyone. And as I'm looking through all the participants here, I recognize so many of your names. So hi to all of you that I know or I've talked to before. Kevin, I see you over there at UCSF. And for those of you who don't know who I am, yeah, like Dylan mentioned, I'm the Strategic Client Success Manager here. I've been here at Mongoose for 5 years now, and I've worked with lots of different institutions doing lots of different things. So happy to be sharing some best practices with you today. So here at Mongoose, of course, we work, like I mentioned, with all different types of institutions and different types of institutions. So when we talk about best practices, there's two different ways we can talk about that. So of course, we can talk about general best practices, general admissions teams, what we're polling, student success, advancement, just kind of what we see works across the board. I really want to stress, though, that the beauty of working with us here at Mongoose is that you do have a dedicated team, client success manager and account manager that you get to meet with. Typically, we like to meet on a quarterly basis where we get to review your actual texting data with you individually and provide custom best practices. So as I'm going through everything today, it is more general of what we suggest for best practices. If you want to know for your specific team and your specific institution what works and doesn't work, I highly suggest reaching out to your team to get one of those scheduled. But we can see here that for admission, student success, advancement, even for two-year institutions, that there are different times throughout the week that are best or receive the highest engagement. So for admissions, we find that actually Monday and Thursday seem to have the highest engagement when people are responding or interacting the most. For student success, we're actually seeing things like Sundays and Wednesdays, although the weekends typically aren't recommended for sending messages. Sometimes we do get texts coming in on those days. And our friends over in advancement, so all the advancement folks here today, it's kind of all over the board. Really, it depends on if it's an event or if it's a giving day, but typically weekdays perform the best for advancement as well. So I'm going to hop on over into the platform real quick and just talk about some features that when I look at all of the teams using Mongoose, what they have in place that are most successful and what things that they are doing to ensure that they are engaging with students or contacts and just making sure that they're using the platform to its full capabilities here. So the first thing I want to highlight is our notifications. So we know as a best practice that texting is pretty immediate. It's a little different than email. Texting, if you text someone, you want a response back. You're like, I know you're on your phone. I know you're looking at that. So it's the same thing with here in Mongoose. We want to make sure that we're getting notified of when people are texting us so that we can hop into the platform and get a response back to them. So just as a best practice, if you don't already know, under your profile in the upper right-hand corner, you can set up notifications. So automatically you will receive an email notification and or a push notification if you have our mobile app downloaded anytime a text arrives within your inbox. So we do suggest having that checked just because you do want to hop in and respond in a timely manner. If it's unchecked, just make sure you're checking Mongoose frequently throughout the day. In conjunction with that, another best practice to ensure that you are responding to folks in a timely manner is to utilize our out of office feature. So, out of office features are applicable within personal inboxes as well as any shared inboxes that you're a part of. An out of office feature allows you to write out a message. You can turn it on and off just like your email. But what I see that tends to be most successful for teams is when they set it up based on their office hours. So I'm an admissions team right now. If your working hours are Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, you can set that up. And then if anyone were to text you outside of those working hours, they would automatically get your out of office message back. So that ensures that you're giving someone a response. If a student decides, hey, I'm going to send a text at 10 p.m. on a Saturday night, you don't want to have the pressure of responding. So having that message that says, I just want you to know we got your text. We're going to get back to you as soon as possible is just a really great touch and best practice. The other feature I want to highlight here today as a best practice is my all-time favorite, smart messages. So I'm sure anyone who's ever met with me, or really just anyone here at Mongoose, is just going to talk about how much we love our smart messages here. And it's definitely a best practice to utilize these. I'm going to pick on my friend Mike because I know he has some good examples of smart messages. Smart messages are surveys. They're asking folks for a yes or no, 1 through 5, or A through E question. The reason why using smart messages is a best practice is because they yield 3 times the response rate than normal SMS text messages that you send. So yes, every text that you send out does not have to result in a reply. Sometimes you may just want to send an informational text out. But asking a question is going to yield higher engagement and is going to get more responses. And when all of those responses are coming in, using things like a smart message will reduce your staff's workload as well. So in this example, if you were to send out a smart message that says, hi, first name, congratulations on your recent graduation from Mongoose State University. Are you A, employed, B, attending graduate school? And you can see this example from here. It's a great way to just engage, get a response, and then have the system respond for you. We at Mongoose have a resource that your client success manager, or we can send in a follow-up. It has examples of smart messages that you could utilize and different templates for that we've also found successful as well. All right, as we're going through this, if you have any questions, please throw it in the chat. We promise we'll get through those as well. So now we can talk about composing our messages. So when we compose our messages, of course, we can throw those smart messages in, which is a great example of how we can utilize those best practices. But another best practice is to utilize our merge fields. So you can see here under fields, you can merge really any field that you're pulling in, but a best practice is to use the person's first name. As personal as we can make it is really what we want to be here. So by first name, and then identifying who you are. And it could be as specific as, this is Kelsey, your admissions counselor from Mongoose State University. Or it can just say, hey, this is Mongoose State University. But as long as you're identifying the person and making it personal and also identifying who you are, that tends to result in less opt-outs and more engagement. We also have features here you can utilize our AI generated features. So this is helpful just ensuring you're following best practices and your communication is solid by using or writing prompts here and having AI generate suggested text for you. We also found when pulling a bunch of different data that the shorter your messages are, the better. So there is a 306 character limit while composing the text, but we found that when messages are 150 characters or less, they actually get higher engagement rates. So keep your messages short and sweet. The long messages can be for email or for follow-ups, but really when you're sending a text, keep it short and sweet and get to the point. We also want to make sure that if we are looking to text someone and get a response, that there's a call to action. So, of course, a smart message leads to that. But having a call to action like, do you need any help? Or please go to this link, whatever it may be, we want to direct them into something. Yes, informational texts are also appropriate. But if we're wanting to get engagement, we want to make sure there's a purpose to the text and call to action. And the last feature here I want to cover is our campaigns. So, as we're sending out all of these wonderful texts, we also want to track and report on how those messages are performing. And that's what a campaign is. So, if you said, okay, I've got a text I want to send out, but there are two different types of versions of content. Maybe in one, I'm asking a question, maybe in another, I'm not. And I want to A B test. We know A B testing is a great way to see what works and what doesn't. So, tracking each of those messages under a different campaign is a great way for you to see which ones performed better. So, if you even wanted to do different days of the week or different times throughout your day, send a text, split your group up, send a text first thing in the morning, send a text later in the day, track it as campaign 1, campaign 2, and then afterwards say, okay, we sent out a text to this many people. Here was the average response time, or here was how many responses we got per campaign, and determine your best course of action from there. So lean on campaigns for A/B testing. And once again, for any custom best practices based on actual usage or data, we always recommend meeting with your team, your client success team. We will make sure that we provide you with that breakdown so that you have very clear custom best practices for your use case as well. So going back to our deck here, just walking you through like what I said earlier. So messages with questions, that call to action or questions get 2 times the response, right? Anytime you have the call to action saying, multiple choice options or your smart messages, 3 times the response rate. And then when we see messages with URLs, we actually get you lower reply rates. You can absolutely send text with links in them. We want you to be smart about that and either send them through a smart message or just send it to those folks really looking for it. But of course, we're going to see less replies because the direction is going to that link. So I always say if you are sending a link, make sure that on your end, on the back end, you can track how many clicks you're getting or even make a custom link specifically for texting to see how it performs and if people via text went to the link that you sent. We also know that conversations are much better than notifications, meaning if you're just sending an update or some sort of informational, hey, here's a text that needs to go out, here's just some basic information, you're going to get more engagement and you're going to get more connection when it's an actual conversation, when you're asking for a reply, when you're trying to engage with them as an individual and understand their standpoint and even make yourself more personal and say, hey, I'm here to help you. I even know of one team that the first time they texted someone, they even included an image of themselves and said, this is me. I'm a real person. I'm here to have a conversation with you. And they had wonderful success using the platform and engaging with contacts along the way. And we know, of course, having conversations matter. So the amount of conversations you're having with someone, you can get a higher enrollment yield rate, a campus visit rate, completion rate. It all increases from there. So the more back and forth you have with people, the more engaged they are. And that's across the entire student life cycle. So from the time that they apply to the time that they graduate and you're asking them for donations and gifts, you're going to see just more engagement based on those conversations. So best practices in a nutshell, here's what you want to take away is that timing really depends on your audience and on your content. But typically Monday through Thursday is the sweet spot for when you want to send out your messages. And between 1 and 3 p.m. tends to perform best. You want to experiment with some A/B testing, so use campaign tracking to compare performance and keep your messages short and sweet. Around 50 to 150 characters get you over twice the reply rate than 250 characters or plus. Use those AI-generated features also to assist with character counts. When you're writing your prompt, say, keep this under 150 characters, and the AI assistant will make sure that it's nice and sweet. Smart messages, use them. They get 3 times the response rate and take a lot of the work off of your team. So heavily use smart messages if you're looking for a response. Ensure your email notifications are checked or you're monitoring your inbox frequently. We want folks to try and respond within an hour and a half to any incoming messages. So using features like your out of office, we also have auto replies, your smart messages, things like that are going to assist and take the pressure off of you to have to respond. And then, of course, use your out of office feature. So, of course, we want to encourage everyone to take time off and use vacation and respect your work boundaries, but also ensuring that you're adhering to communication best practices. So, having out of office up will ensure that folks are getting a response when they text in. And as Dylan talked about, we do have benchmarking reports. So you are welcome to download a copy. We have one for 2-year institutions, we have one for 4-year institutions that really break down the data that we pulled to give you that general for your collective departments. What the best day and times to send messages, what messages drive the most replies, conversation types, sentiment. So we highly suggest downloading those, as well as scheduling those meetings with your dedicated team here at Mongoose to review your custom best practices and data as well. Okay, so I think we're going to take some Q&A. We wanted to make sure we definitely saved some time and answered your questions here. So, Jake, Dylan, tell me what you got.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a quick poll for you guys just to kind of see if you guys want to have a custom best practices session with your CSM. It's completely included, no fee, nothing. You guys can just meet with them freely and request time to see campaign planning. Hey, I'm planning giving day. I need some help with that, right? Or how can I best tailor these messages for enrollment? What does that look like? Any type of help, we're here. That's just what we do. So yeah, Kelsey, anything
Yeah, I was just,
on these like custom sessions, it's completely
yeah.
included, folks.
I've even, probably even some of you on this call, I've sat down on these reviews with you and actually sent out texts together, or we'll create smart messages together or write templates, or you're saying, "Hey, I'm about to send this text. Does it look okay?" So these are just working sessions, but also a great way to reflect on data and see what your team's been up to.
Awesome. Thanks so much for filling those in. All right, so let's jump over to the Q&A. We've got some folks asking questions. Jake got to most of them, so if you want to scroll back up, you guys can see those. So recording, you absolutely receive a recording of this. Now, do emojis or likes count as back and forth?
So if someone responds with an emoji back, so if they text back an emoji, yes, that would result as a response. If they like the message, I don't believe that is included in a reply.
Got it. Okay, next question coming out from Jake is are desktop notifications only for those using chat, or is it for text messages as well?
Text and chat.
Text and chat. All right, Candace, lot of folks experiencing this. We have a last minute event. What's the best way to convey that in a text message?
Yeah. So, Candace, and feel free to throw this in the chat too, or even unmute yourself. So when you're saying you have a last minute event, is that like you have it in an hour and need to send a text out? Or is it just like a day or two later and you just need to quick get something out? You're unmuted, so feel free to talk or throw it in the chat.
You can't. Um,
I hear you.
it's the same day. Sometimes we have stuff the same day and we might not have, sometimes we have low numbers and we want to get that urgency, or sometimes we have an event coming in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
What is the best way to that's really a short time because people plan.
Yes, you're right. People do plan. Yeah, that's a great question then. So if you have an event coming up, we do actually see smart messages used a lot with events saying, "Hey, we have an event coming up. I know it's last minute, but we'd love to see you there. Do you think you will be able to make it, or do you plan on attending? Would you like the link to register?" And then use a smart message of yes or no. If they reply yes, say, "Okay, here's the link where you can register." If they reply no, "Okay, we'll hope to see you at the next one." So we absolutely see text messages used for events, and it's okay if you're sending it in a couple days in advance or whenever you find that information. just make it as clear as possible how they can sign up for the event and let them know, even if it's a deadline. Hey, we're gathering last minute registrations. So can you respond within the next day or two if you think you'll be able to attend? But sending any sort of registration link as a follow-up is a great way to get people to sign up fast.
Do you have any templates on how to do that? I would like to send a support message, but I never have.
Yeah, yeah. So we have a great resource, smart message template examples. So per department even, that shows you some examples of how you can build those out. So we can send that, Dylan, I don't know, Dylan and Jake, if we can send that to everyone as a follow-up to this, but I think that would be a great resource.
Oh, yes, thank you kindly.
Of course.
Yeah, definitely. One thing that I've really kind of found when I'm looking at like texting, and one thing that I've read, and Kelsey helped me out, is like always at trying to ask a question at the end to prompt additional responses from the students to keep them engaged.
Mm-hmm.
That accurate?
Yeah, yeah, the more engagement we have, the better. So yeah, if we're asking a question or even just letting them know, hey, this texting goes two ways. I just said that to a client earlier today. They were going to send their first text out. And I said, sometimes it's nice just to remind the people that you're texting that like there's a real person that's texting you behind this. And texting goes two ways. So saying things like, save this number in your phone and text me if you have any questions, or yes, and ending every text with, did this help you? Or would you like to set up a meeting with me to talk through this in more detail? How, or speaking of actually, Candace, events, after an event, sending out a pulse survey. Hey, thanks for attending our event yesterday. How do you think it went on a scale of 1 to 5? Send that out. It's a great way to just engage.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Jake, now I'm gonna put you on the spot real quick here, my man. You often on your LinkedIn post tips and tricks just for like for fun for Mongoose folks who follow Jake on LinkedIn. What's one of your favorite like best practices, tips or tricks?
Oh, okay. So I think one of my favorite ones, this is a more recent one. We made some changes recently to help us prevent using certain link shorteners within our messages. And I feel like this is kind of specific, but I know a lot of folks like to send out links within their messages, and utilizing link shorteners like Bitly is usually going to get you flagged by carriers. And we have now put some safeguards in place to help prevent against that. But I would always ensure that you take a look at our best practices when sending out any sort of links like that, and not to use any link shorteners, as you will be flagged. Another best practice, let me see if I have any more. Not so much a best practice, but more of an FYI that I always like to pass along is regarding all of our AI features, that none of the information that is inserted into Mongoose is ever shared with OpenAI. So not to get too technical, we have many safeguards and security measures on the back end. So all of that is not shared outside of Mongoose, and it's not used to train any models or anything like that. So I always like to remind folks that we are very conscious of what we do with the data that does come in, and it's never shared with any external sources.
That was actually going to be mine.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, it's a great call out because like PII data, especially within higher education, has a ton of information back there, and you're dealing with people's data, and so, but AI once again does not share backwards, right? So, even though it's built on AI, that doesn't mean it's shared. Like you go onto ChatGPT, the website that is public, that is shared. But ours is not. It is housed completely within our server. So it's not going anywhere. So don't be afraid to use those AI features to make your life easier.
Mhm.
Got a question from Katie, mentioned uploading a picture. That's MMS, right? How do you do that
Yes.
is the question.
So while you're composing your text, actually, I'm still sharing my screen. So while you're composing your text, you have the ability on the bottom panel here to attach an image or GIF. If that is not something that you have access to, that may not be something per your contract that was enabled. So if you do have interest in sending out images or GIFs within your text messages and you don't see that as an option there, once again, reach out to your client success manager or account manager and they can set you up to get that enabled.
Nice. Difference between organization and a team in the dashboard reporting.
Yes. So in the dashboard. So if you are an admin in Mongoose, you have access to your entire organization, which is all teams or departments that are texting in Mongoose at your institution. You can see overall sentiment for every single organization, even if you're not involved with it. It's just from an institution standpoint. When you toggle to your team, in this case, I'm in the admissions team. This is just data showing me my specific admissions team's sentiment analysis.
Will images make us more likely to get blocked if they're mass sent?
We typically don't see that. The only time we see that is really around link sending for those that may opt out, or if the link looks sketchy for some reason, like Jake was talking about, if it's a bit.ly link or anything like that, that's when we see it. Images typically aren't. Now, every phone or carrier may receive images differently. So AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, the images may not come through on some of them depending on the carrier. We always recommend that if you are going to send an image out, that you send a test text to yourself or a couple of your other colleagues who maybe have different carriers, just to see how the images look on your phone. But overall, images will not cause you to get blocked more if sent in mass.
Yeah, good shout. I do want to also highlight our support team. We have best in class support. We are 100% here for you, so do not be afraid to reach out to that support team, your CSM, to help you guys out. Anything that we can do to help you, the support team is there, and they have amazing response times and are truly some of the best folks that we have on the squad here. I do have one more question that came in for out of office auto-based on office hours. How do you indicate office hours? How do you indicate, no hours over the weekend?
Yeah. So when you set up your office hours, you can, first off, you can do it day by day and set it up that way. But if you were to select Monday through Friday, anyone that texts you outside of that. So if you're saying there's no office hours on the weekends, you set it up that you work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Then if someone texts you on the weekends, it will automatically send back. So by setting up your office hours, it will automatically turn on, and anyone that texts you outside of whatever hours you have here, like on the weekends, they will get a text back. Sure.
Got it. Anything else? Keep them coming, folks. We got a couple more, maybe a minute or two more, and then we're probably gonna bounce out. But just always want to reiterate, reach out, please. Let us help you make this as successful as it can be. The folks like Kelsey and Ashley, Kelsey over in CSMs, your AMs like Mike, support like Ashley, here to help. Here we go. If we have a student lead outreach center using a shared inbox, would you also recommend out of office?
I do. I think anytime you have a team, even if the hours necessarily for your team aren't a set time, I do think having some sort of out of office, even if it's just manually turned on here and there, is recommended if you want to have it automatically set up, even just for the weekends. It's great. Yes. And to that other question, have institutions advertised or publicly added a number to reach out with questions? Yes. We see that often. So if you want to promote your number anywhere, even if your email signature or on your website, you can say, text, if you have admissions questions, text admissions to this number and use our auto reply feature in order to advertise that. So yes, we see that used often. We highly recommend promoting your numbers to get people to text in.
Nice. I think that's all we got time for. So thanks, Jake, for heading up the logistics and the
course, guys.
chat and questions. Kelsey, thanks so much for joining me. And thank you guys for joining. Hope you guys found something really useful that you guys can take away. Go ahead, download those benchmark reports, see what we can do to help you out. Reach out to us. We got you. So let us help you. So thanks so much. Have a great day, guys. Bye.